Julie is doing the live this time, so I'm pretty sure it'll work.
All right. Hello, everybody. It looks like we are now live on Radical Astrology. It may take a second for everything to sync, so if things are a little choppy, just give us a second. And just as a reminder, before I introduce ourselves, or we introduce ourselves, it's just going to be the two of us on the live. So those of you joining us on Radical Astrology for the live broadcast, just feel free to put comments in or questions in, and I'll monitor those as we go along and share our screens and give you all sorts of information about the upcoming new moon. So I'm Julie Sherwood of Your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching. I do constellational astrology readings. I'm also a solution-focused wellness coach, a root cause therapy practitioner, and an Usui Reiki master practitioner. So that's my gamut of holistic health, and I'm at yourbesthopeswc.com.
And I am Maria Schumacher. I do a daily astrology report on a little page called Cosmic Reflections. And on the the Radical Astrology page. And I have a little website called venus-13.com where you can learn about a few other things that I do as well. But yeah.
Yay. So welcome, everybody. And we're going to talk about this upcoming new moon from the constellational perspective, which I believe most of you on Radical Astrology understand what that means. But for those catching it on replay, perhaps at other channels, Maria and I use the sky. We use the actual constellations in the sky as they appear, and we use all 13 of the constellations that cross the ecliptic. So when we make reference points to different placements, that's our perspective. And there's, of course, we can go into all the boundary questions and all that, but we're not going to do that today. But recognizing that this new moon is actually right in this break between Aquarius and Pisces. So speaking
Yes.
of,
Let's this is
yeah.
There will be an awkward pause while Maria figures out how to share her screen. Let's
Oh, and by the way, we keep it real here. This is not Hollywood produced, so
you have got that right.
It's who we are. Okay.
Okay. Ta-da.
So here is the perspective of the new moon as we are looking at the actual chart produced by Prometheus. Capricorn software is what we use. And if you look down at the bottom part of the screen, you'll see the sun and the moon symbols are right next to each other. So again, for people who may be new, that's what a new moon represents, or is how it is represented in a chart. The moon and the sun are conjunct or right on top of or next to each other in the sky. Whereas a full moon, they're opposite to each other. So Maria, how would you like to add to that?
That's right. I'd also like to add the sky shot of that.
Yes,
There's
that
there's
really,
something singular about this full moon. We can see here. I'm gonna just do a
yep, we just got to
fancy
switch.
graphic here. Okay.
There we
See
go.
what I just did there?
Ooh,
Hey,
hey.
that's my moon and sun together right there. Let me see if I can even do like an arrow.
And as you're doing that, the thing for others to note, if you look just above the sun and the moon symbols, you'll see numbers. It'll say 0 degrees, 42 minutes Pisces. That's another way you can tell is you'll see that that placement in the constellation is exactly the same. So that's another way to tell that it's a new moon.
Yep. So they are together. And you see how they are right on the line between Aquarius and Pisces, right on that line.
Yep.
So in our chart here, it says 0 degrees Pisces, because from our perspective here on Earth, when we're flattening out the sky and trying to put it on paper, that's the best that we can do. When we look at a graphic of the live sky, however, when we try to make that 3D, and I'm going to have to share that screen now.
Yes, that really shows it.
Yeah, it really does. So can y'all see this?
Not yet.
Okay. I'll probably have to go back to the thing where I share it.
Yeah. And you can stop share and reshare. But as you're doing that, one of our fellow colleagues, Michael Hartigan of One Sky Astrology, he does a recording every lunar cycle, and he does a beautiful replication of this placement and talking about the different stars for each of the constellations. And as you can see the sun and the moon between them, and he goes into a little bit more detail on that. So you might want to check that out. He's got it linked on our Radical Astrology page too, and his YouTube channel. So I just want to give props to our friend out there who does a nice job of that as well.
He does a nice job. He's the best. Okay.
Go for it.
Right. So here we have a graphic of the 3D sky with the boundaries between constellations added. See, here's Aquarius, here's Pisces. Now, because of where these planets are transiting relative to the ecliptic, the sun is always on the ecliptic, right? Because that's what the ecliptic is the path of the sun. Ask me how long I'd studied astrology before I realized that, and you will get a laugh because it was like it's not something they immediately teach you
Right.
when you're, a kid. Anyhow, here's the moon transiting way below the sun. So we have an interesting case of the sun is on that cusp of Aquarius Pisces, but the moon is still firmly in Aquarius. So technically, this new moon is in Aquarius.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we've made note of this before too. Again, not to get into all of the midpoints and IAU boundaries and all of that, because what we're trying to do is put a human defined boundary around the cosmos, right?
Right.
So, you can have it on this screen showing exactly where the sun and the moon are relative to all these lines, but you do have the energy of both Aquarius and Pisces because the energies are blending in that chasm
Yes.
between them.
Yeah.
So,
Even if these dotted lines weren't there at all, right? You would still see here it is right in between. There's Pisces over here. There's the stars of Pisces, and there's the stars of Aquarius. It's just right in between them.
yeah.
I just find it interesting that technically the moon is in the technical boundary of Aquarius still because of where it transits.
Yeah.
So that is why, even when we still have to look at the live sky because we can't rely on our software. We just really can't rely on charts, anything that is too much 2D. You still got to be able to at least, and I realize that I'm talking about, 3D sky when I'm looking at software on a computer, but it's at least a horizontal view. It's adding that Z-axis.
Well, and this is where the art of the work comes in, right?
Yeah.
It's the intuitive piece, it's the art of it. You have the science of it, all the definitions of everything, but we really do bring in the intuitive aspect of it in how we look at this too. So that's where we are. That's why you've got this Aquarian Pisces new moon feel when you use the actual sky. So
There it is.
Aquarius, how would you interpret that, my dear friend?
Let's see. Do we want to have anything else up before I start yakking?
Well, let's just keep it here for now, and then we can always bring back the actual new moon Prometheus chart when we get ready to go through the houses, because I think that helps illustrate, again, for people who may be relatively new to reading charts or understanding them. I know a large number of people in the Radical Astrology page are pretty well versed in that, but we want to make this accessible to everybody and teach people, right?
We do.
So,
well, then let's pull the live sky back up because that's pretty.
okay.
It can absorb all of our beautiful stars.
And before we go into that, leave it up. One of the things we talk about is different ways that we can use holistic approaches to managing these energies, riding with the energies, flowing with the energies, all different kinds of esoteric, metaphysical, holistic tools that we may have in our toolbox or others around us may have. And so what I'm going to do this moment is I am going to give us a little overall message for the lunar cycle. And it's from this deck called The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. And so I'm going to pull a card real quick to see what the universe has to tell us about how it has our back for this lunar cycle.
Bring it.
Let's see what the universe has to say. Apparently it's this card right here.
Did it come leaping out?
Oh, actually, it was like sticking in my hand. It
Oh.
says, when I lean into the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. And with the stars of Pisces, I really feel that, because I feel Pisces is that compassionate, peaceful kind of energy. So there you have it. So that's one message. And when my dear co-host is called to pull a card for us, whether it be now or later, we'll find out more.
I'll probably do it at the end. I'll probably just close out with
Love it. Love it.
card, so.
Okay, Aquarius.
All right,
What
here I go
say you
yakking.
about Aquarius?
Aquarius. This is how you can tell we're not scripted, because I just had like 17 sentences pop into my head all at the same time. And I'm currently trying to sift through them to see which one to utter in a way that humans can hear.
Thank you, Mercury and Pisces.
Yeah, exactly. So Aquarius. We've all heard, even those of us who may not be super familiar with astrology, have heard about the age of Aquarius, right? When everything gets better. Like, we've all been working for that age of Aquarius. In a nutshell, Aquarius represents the future, that to which we look forward. It also, by virtue of the stars that are involved, represents balance in a different way than Libra. Aquarius is the water bearer, right? So when we think about that, the water bearer very carefully and exactly is pouring water from one thing to another. He's in control of water. He's in control of his emotions. So he's learned how to control himself, and that is why he can advance into the future, right? This is why we've gotten ourselves under control. I know what I'm doing. I can pour my water just where I want it. I can hold it with my body. I can concentrate on what I'm doing. So I'm bringing all of my faculties together. And because of that, I can advance into the future. I can look forward. I'm not just worrying about where am I going to eat and shelter. Eat, sleep, and shelter. I'm not necessarily just curious about the simplest little things of the world anymore. I've learned how to work with people. I've learned how to, I've learned how to be in community. I've learned how to keep myself fed. I've grown up in a family. So I've done all of those sort of individual things. And now I can look to bigger things because I've learned stuff. And now I can apply the stuff that I've learned in a calculated way. That's why Aquarius is also associated with like space travel, computers, science, anything that explores, anything that seeks to create new and innovative things. This is where we do it.
And it's not just for the individual, it's for the bigger community, right?
Right. Aquarius thinks big because Aquarius has mastered the self lesson, so it can think beyond itself.
Right.
Right. So that's why it's a sign of not personal mastery in the way that Ophiuchus is necessarily, but of like personal, all right, I've got myself under control.
And now I'm ready to bring it to everyone else.
Yep.
In conjunction with everyone else, in interaction with everyone else, right?
Yes. Yes. And that's part of the pouring of the water, right? I'm pouring it from one place to another. I'm sharing. I'm acting in concert. Aquarius is associated with the 11th house in astrology, which is about the word collective is often used. I don't love it because it has connotations. What I prefer is all about individuals coming together. It's about groups, right? Purposeful groupings, be it your community, be it your workplace, be it just like-minded people. In our cases, we're very Aquarius right now. We're here in computer, right, in box world, talking across the planet. We've found like-minded people through technology that are situated all over the globe. If that's not Aquarian, I don't know what is. So, what we're doing right now is very Aquarian. 11th house groups of like-minded and like purpose individual, and the common purpose, something that is also very important to Aquarius energy.
I like that common purpose. Yeah, because it's
Take
not,
it away,
again,
Julie.
not just that individual, it's for the common good of all, the common good of humanity, the common good of the greater community, not just the one that's out your back door, right?
Yes, yes, the common purpose. So it's one of those, whenever two or more are gathered in my name, whatever that common purpose is. I want to go find people who like to garden. Okay, I want to find people. I'm going to find people who feel strongly about wearing blue socks on Tuesday, whatever it is. I don't want to get political or religious here, but it's that's Aquarian energy. We're going to find people who are like-minded and want to work toward a common goal.
Yeah.
We want, yeah.
And I was going to say, and what's really interesting is, and this is why I really love constellational astrology for this piece of it, in the fact that Aquarius going into Pisces or Leo going into Virgo, these are the bridge areas. So Leo going into Virgo is the bridge of the self getting ready to go to the community, if you will. And the Aquarius is the end of that larger community development through the last few stars of Aquarius, getting ready to go back to the all that is of Pisces.
That's right. And it's important to remember about Aquarius that it is opposite Leo, right?
Yes.
So you've got that whole greater community-minded thing opposite the very self-oriented energy, and Leo can help Aquarius to sort of come down out of the stars, right? To have fun with it. Aquarius can get very serious. It can get very purpose driven. And a shadow side of Aquarius really can be, what's the word I'm looking for?
Aloofness.
Obsessive.
Well, yeah.
Right. When you want to find people with like-minded purpose, well, that can be cultish. That can be, the purpose isn't always necessarily wholesome. Leo can help sort of pull you out of that. I'm too much in my head. I'm too philosophical and I'm not thinking straight because I've lost my feeling. And that's, again, a shadow side of Aquarius is that they can be detached from emotions. It's too under control. So under control that they don't feel it. They don't use it.
And it's an air sign,
right.
That is relative to all the logic, the communication, the thinking and all of that. Yeah, exactly. So we do have a question here that I don't know the answer to, but you may.
Hello, person actually watching us.
Yes, Linda posted a note. Will the moon being below the ecliptic transit Cetus? And I said, well, we may have to animate that, and I'm not sure. And if there's somebody out there listening that knows the answer, please go ahead and post it.
I actually can tell you this. No, it does not quite get into Cetus. It looks like it. It looks like it, but it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't quite get into Cetus. That is a great question, though. It's not low enough.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. So, all right. So that's Aquarius, and again, I go back to, I think this cusp is a really important cusp, because again, we're ending the maturation through understanding how we interact with others as a social group, a community group, whatever you want to call it, as a humanity. Now we're getting ready to cross into the stars of the all that is, where we all go back to being the one. So this is a really auspicious cusp, I think. And I think given, and I don't want to get into all those crazy things in the world, but I think this lends itself to the idea that we are in a position with this energy particularly going into an eclipse season, that we have an opportunity here. We really have an opportunity to understand each other in a much, God, what was the word we were using? We were talking about this earlier, in a much more respectful way, I guess, for lack of a better word, understanding we all have differences, we are all individuals, but in the end, we all return to the one that is. So,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yeah, where we can approach each other in a way that, finds the differences interesting
yes.
rather than scary. Like,
Mhm.
you know, I don't see that the way you see it, but I totally respect that you see it that way. I'd like to hear more about it, and I'd like to tell you how I see it. And so
Yes.
let's talk about our different points of view.
Well, and the
When's the
compassion,
last time you did that? You know,
yeah, true. And the
and
compassionate understanding of Pisces. I mean,
yeah,
really, you know,
you know, we taught Julie and I have talked about um Venus having just entered at the other end of Aquarius is super important for this new moon because she also brings in that peace, right? That peacemaking um quality that wants to see the strength and the value and the beauty in the collective,
right.
in in everybody, in all that is. And yes, in the individual, but there's there's a way in which this new moon is really the beginning of the year. I mean, you could almost see it that way, that this is a real beginning point for something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, again, especially because just Aquarius, Venus coming along behind. And our hope is, or at least my hope is, that that new beginning is seeing humanity, or humanity seeing itself and each other in that more harmonious, more peaceful, more loving, more interesting way. Like, what if our fellow men were interesting instead of terrifying?
Right.
What would that
Right.
be like? That's Aquarius, right? Where and that ability to detach from certain emotions that make us afraid and that seek to control. What if we could tap into that, Aquarian Vulcan curiosity? Hmm, that's interesting.
And I see, with Uranus being the ruler of Aquarius, at least in traditional, I mean, in modern rulers,
Mhm.
he's the one that reminds us to be our true, authentic, quirky, eccentric self. And that is the only way, in my estimation, that we can truly be in harmony in our greater human community,
Mhm.
collective. I know, again, I know that's a connotative word, but if we don't bring the authentic individual us to the table, then there's disharmony too. And I think that's also a reflection of the maturation of moving through Aquarius. And Venus brings that beauty in remembering that, seeing the
Well,
value in
yeah,
everybody's eccentricity and
yes.
authenticity.
Well, and think about it this way too. If we're not even resonating with our authentic selves, who could we possibly call in? What are we going to call in when we're calling from an inauthentic, disharmonious place, a place in our that we're not even, being authentic with ourselves. We're
Right.
not going to get people who are truly in harmony with us,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
And the other thing too about Aquarius is it is the place of revolution. And I don't mean that in the let's, create a big old war or a fight or anything. It's revolution in re-evolution, right? It's the opportunity for us to take what we have come to at this point and look at a new way of doing it. Revolution, innovation, that futuristic, like Maria was saying, that futuristic view forward. What can we take with what we've learned transiting through all the stars to this point
yeah,
to
and the
move
place
forward?
where the circle begins again, revolution, right?
Yes,
It's yeah,
yes. And that's why I love your point about this is like the birth point. the
Yeah.
starting point in some ways, right? There's so
Kind
many
of.
different ways we can look at that.
Or yeah, at the very least, the point where, a new cycle begins, something
Yes.
else begins again.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
and we have a couple other good comments here. Don Birds mentioned that he
Oh,
posted something on Venus and Aquarius, kind of along the lines of what we were talking about. And Danny made a comment about good point that you had made. I don't know which particular one because I don't know what the timing is, but
Danny.
we'll see it in the replay. So yeah, it's a again, I really feel strongly that this is a very auspicious new moon.
I
So
agree. I agree. Especially since we know it's the harbinger of the eclipse season,
yes, yes.
like the mega eclipse, right? Ooh.
So shall we take everybody through the houses? So perhaps we can switch screens to the new moon chart. So
Oh,
what
sorry.
while you're doing that, what our intention is we're going to talk about as you experience this new moon in your chart relative to your natal
Oh,
house. So in other words, if this Pisces Aquarius cusp is in your first house, potentially this is how you may experience it. We'll describe that. And the other piece that we decided to bring in with all of this is using crystals as a holistic way to approach the energy relative to the house you may be experiencing this new moon. So there you go. And Danny was making the point about the good point that you made, Maria, about being authentic to magnetize your soul tribe.
right?
I like that.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and I will mention, Danny made a good point. We're talking about eclipses. So we are going to do a round table. This is a sneak preview hint, and I'll put some information out about it this weekend. On March 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific, we're going to have a 7-person round table of fellow constellational astrologers having a chat about the eclipse. So stay tuned. We'll get some info out about that.
Yay.
So anywho's, all right, first house.
First house, new beginnings. Okay, let's back up just a second. So again, new moons are about initiating stuff, right? So at the last new moon, which was in Capricorn, we initiated something, and then at the new moon we checked based on the houses. So at this at this moon, we want to talk about, sort of, oh, Julie, help me out. It's on my sheet and I've lost it.
Well, we built the foundations in the last new moon, right? So the last lunar cycle was about the Capricornian new moon. How did we
Yes,
build, and prepare the foundation for what we're bringing out into the world? And
that's it.
now we've spent this time through Aquarius, bringing it to the community, and we're just at that tail end of that. So now we're going to talk a bit about how we've built what we wanted to build for the greater good of all,
Mhm.
and how we're experiencing this new moon in this cuspy position. So if you're a first house person with the new moon, then you have the new beginnings.
You have a new beginning. Yeah, your individuality is coming out. What have I learned about what have I learned about my actual place in the collective? So this might be a great, if this is happening in your first house, that is to say, if you have the beginning degrees of Pisces in your first house natal chart, that's how you know where it's happening for
Right,
you. So it's happening in Pisces, and where Pisces is in your natal chart means that's where this is happening for you.
right.
So if you have this in your first house, it's going to be all about having a look at what you are experiencing and your actual how you see your place in the collective.
Yeah.
And it might be a time, because it's new, it might be a time to course correct your place in the collective or take your place in the collective.
Be that authentic you in the collective. Show
Mhm.
yourself, the capital S self, as a member of the bigger community. Be seen,
Yep.
right?
Yep. I have a place. I have a presence here.
Right.
Time to come on out. Yeah. we've also uh, identified some particular gemstones that you can use to sort of enhance this energy. So the gemstone that you can use to enhance the energy of this first house is diamond,
because it activates your personal will and power and gives you strength and courage. So as you're stepping as that one into the larger community, if you struggle with that sometimes, maybe you have Chiron in the first house. That's another story. You
Mhm.
can draw on the energy of the diamond to really help you have that courage to be the authentic one. Now, mind you, we recognize that not everybody's going to have every one of these gemstones in their little pockets or on their altars or on their dressers or wherever you happen to keep your stones, but you can meditate on it. You can envision it. You can just call in the energy, in an intuitive way and use that energetic vibration to support you during this new moon. If you're in the first house, you bring in the energy of the diamond.
Right,
So there
right.
you go. Okay, second house. And by the way, for reference point, if you're looking at the chart on the screen here and you see the cusp of the Aries Pisces cusp, in this chart, it's in the third house so that you understand what you're looking at there. That's just a point of reference.
You mean Aquarius Pisces?
I'm sorry, Aquarius Pisces. She's Louise. Mercury and Pisces, having a
Go
hard
good,
time
good.
communicating.
Right?
Um, anyway,
I'm
second
looking, I can
house.
see. Yeah. Second house. Um, you want to be looking at what your value is in the collective. I want to show my value in the collective, right? And more about the value of you than what kind of stuff you have, right? It's the personal, what is my value in the greater in my greater community? What value do I have to my community? Again, I don't love the word collective
Well, and it's
because it,
the intrinsic values, right?
yes.
How do I intrinsically see myself as a member of that community? What do I have to offer
Mhm.
that community, right? In the greater good, the greater collective. And it can be material items. Maybe you're somebody that has a food bank for your community, maybe, those kinds of things. But I get, we were talking about this, but again, because it's on the cusp of Aquarius Pisces, I think it's more of that intrinsic feels that,
Yes.
self-worth, self-value, self-confidence as I show myself in my greater community.
Exactly. And feeling into true abundance,
Yes,
right? That I'm going to start feeling abundance as again as separate from um possessions.
yes, yes.
So
Because
I
abundance,
think that yeah, the Aquarian in you is going to really start to understand and to feel into that difference between um wealth and abundance.
right, right. Because abundance has such broad implications,
It
right?
does.
Time, health, partnerships, you can look at that word any way you want, but
Mhm.
it again, how do you as the individual connect to that in the greater community?
Right. Yeah. The difference between, and I shouldn't say wealth and abundant, but having stuff and being truly abundant
Having
or
stuff.
having stuff. Yeah.
Having stuff is okay. It's okay. It's
You
not
need
bad.
stuff. We all need stuff.
And you know what? Actually, what just dawned on me is the more stuff that I have in abundance, the more I have to share with my community.
There is that. Yes. Yes. It is also true that no poor person ever endowed a medical school.
True that.
So there's nothing wrong with being poor, but there is also nothing wrong with being rich in a balanced person.
Right.
And that's
Right.
what you want. And again, Aquarius helps you understand all that, helps you to understand what your balance point between greed and abundance, greed and wealth, between, being abundant but feeling lack.
Right. Right.
This is, yeah, this is, I think, going to be the real benefit of Aquarius in the second house there is just sort of getting that higher understanding of what true wealth is, what true abundance is, what true value is and what your value is separate from the stuff, or what the real value of the stuff is.
You know, and actually the interesting thing too is being on that cusp between Aquarius and Pisces, as you're getting ready to step into Pisces, you have to let go of all of that. Because when you
Mhm.
return to the all that is, you ain't taking it with you, right?
You really aren't.
It's a detachment piece too. And I think Aquarius helps us detach from holding on to these things as the individual.
Right.
So,
In an unhealthy way.
yes,
You know,
exactly.
again,
Exactly.
we do not by any means want to say that everybody needs to just go out there and be poor,
No, no.
because wrong. Um, but neither is it all about you have to be rich in a worldly sense. And Aquarius will help you understand that difference and what your limits are and what your needs are.
Right, right.
The
And
stone
today's
for
stone
this,
is,
oh,
go for it.
citrine.
Citrine, yes. And this beautiful stone we chose because it enhances abundance, increases inner calm and serenity. And I think that goes right to what we were just saying. And it allows for alignment to your intrinsic values. So again, you can have all that stuff in the cupboard or in the bank account and all of that, but does it really feed your self-worth? Does it feed your self-value? Does it feed all of these things in a way that you can be authentically you in your community and among your community? So
Bingo.
that's our second house. All right, third house.
Third house needs to start communicating on a deeper level, both with yourself and with other people who really get you. That's, so we wrote about this, is like you're going to need to start talking. You're going to need to start communicating your thoughts. You're going to, and you're going to want to share thoughts with people, right? This is where that whole Aquarius, ooh, I get to find my like-minded people. Well, okay, third house, like-minded, right? We're going to just be excited about sharing all of the things that we want to do, all of our new ideas, all of our concepts, and be excited about finding the people that you can talk about that with.
You know, and this also may lend itself to, for those who may believe, to communicating to others beyond us, right? Whether it be star seeds or galactic beings or whatever resonates with you. This is communicating on a deeper level. It's maybe communicating
Animals.
in animals another way, right? You're communicating in ways other than just words. It's that futuristic, visionary connection to the community, however you define that. It could be a completely different concept of community. Like
Right.
I said, could be
Or a
starting.
completely different concept of communicating. It
Yes.
doesn't always have to be, it can be two-way, but you might start writing a blog. You might create a web page where you share your thoughts and other people share your thoughts, sort of like cosmic reflections. That was a
Exactly.
that was a third house move, if ever there was one.
Yeah. Yeah. Or light language. Some people
Yes.
resonate with that, you know.
Yes.
So it just depends how you envision that. And that actually goes more right into what stone we picked, which was,
Lemurian seed crystals.
yes. And they're in the quartz family. And we chose these because it stimulates connection with guardian beings, increases the sense of oneness and unity, Aquarius cusp to Pisces, and brings in anchoring energies for the planet as a way or a form of communication. So it's a connection to Mother Earth too, communicating with Mother Earth. It's a different form of communication. So
A note on how to use these, just in case anybody's wondering, all right, well, how do I use these crystals? I once had a teacher who encouraged us all to get a pencil and paper, get the stone, whatever the stone is, hold it in your hand and let it tell you how you should use it. Right?
communicate.
Get yourself as calm as you can and communicate with the stone. And whatever comes up for you, it might tell you that you need to take a bath with it,
Yeah,
that you need to have it in your car, that you need to wear it, that you need to sleep with it under your pillow, that you should have it by a candle. Whatever it is right for you. So this is a real test of, all right, how well do you test yourself? Because you could get something wacky, like you need to put it under your left foot. Whatever it is, that is how you need to do it. And just do it that way.
And
And see
again,
what
if
you
you
get.
don't have the stone itself, you can, there's a great website, crystalvaults.com, and I can put it in the notes here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you can just print a picture of it and hold it in your hand. You don't have to
Yeah.
have the actual stone.
Yep. Yep.
So.
That works too. But it's just, tune into that stone and let it tell you how you need to use it.
And it'll tell you. Speaking of communication, that was third
I
house.
put
Fourth
it under the
house.
left foot is a thing. That was a thing with something. I had one. I have one that my shungite wants me to hold it to my forehead.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Sometimes you can sleep with them under a pillow or whatever. Yeah, there's all sorts of different ways.
Yeah. And you'll need to rotate them too, but that's a whole other class. Anyway.
Yes. There's another comment. Don Bird, Aquarius, true community, not the sell my soul to the wrong community. Yes, because you're bringing the authentic you to that community, right? Right on there, spot on.
Yes, Don.
Okay, fourth house.
Yes. Fourth house in this case, we feel is about heart. Very much about heart, especially with Venus has just entered Aquarius. Are you tuning into your heart? Are you tuning into your heart when you open up to your community? Is your heart supported by your community? Is your heart supported by your family? This can also be a big old bloodline, downline, family DNA lineage healing for people in the fourth house. For people in the fourth house could have a very profound healing experience here.
The word tribe comes up again here, right?
Yeah.
It's that
Yeah.
concept of connecting to your ancestral tribe too. That's your community, right? Your heart, you're doing it through the heart space.
Yeah. That's how, and you may find your ancestral tribe that way. You may heal a big downline healing through this. You might you might just begin opening your heart more to your tribe. This is that there could be just a greater level of trust here, that you just start to feel more comfortable or do things that make you feel more comfortable in your tribe.
And this is the mother energy too, right? Fourth house Cancer, it all connects to the mother energy. So that nurturing, and of course, Venus coming in as that divine feminine, if you will, is that nurturing, receiving energy. But you have to open your heart to be able to receive it too, right? So, and the beautiful stone is?
Green tourmaline.
Yes. So green tourmaline provides nurturing energy. And the reason I brought up the mother energy is the stone can also heal energies related to male figures in life. So if perhaps you had authority figures that you didn't resonate in your life, or you find authority figures in the greater community, your workplace, that has not allowed you to open your heart. So it's an opportunity to take that divine masculine, if you will, and make it more balanced, closer to the divine feminine if it's out of balance, right? It's connecting through that heart space. And then strengthens and regenerates the heart, quite literally. So you might be somebody that you get the message to take that green tourmaline and place it on your chest at night and let it just nurture your heart as you sleep, literally.
And I feel also that with Venus in Aquarius here, just behind this full moon, and this full moon is trine to Cancer in a lot of ways, that there's the healing that heart tribe ancestral healing could take the form of literally walking away from a
Mm-hmm.
family situation, that the Aquarian energy will help you detach in a very healthy way, that just to say, you know what, this is not feeding my heart. This is not, I am not supported here. I am not loved here. I love myself and I can move on.
And the strength of that community around you may help you with that,
Mhm.
you
A
know?
new community that helps you do that. So
Yeah, yeah. Or it gives you that strength to walk away if you need to.
yeah.
So, fifth house,
Fifth house, the
relative
Leo
to Leo.
energy. Yes. Okay. So remember how we said that Leo is opposite Aquarius in here, and what he does is sort of remind Aquarius that you can have fun too. I think this is what's going to be happening, that people for whom this is happening in the fifth house are just going to want to enjoy the process, right? We're in a process and stuff is happening and I just want to enjoy it. I want to have fun. I want to, I kind of want to, don't be, rejecting authority is a harsh way to put it, but don't harsh my mellow, right? Don't mess with my fun. Don't tell me what I got to do and what I don't got to do. There's another thing Aquarius hates, right? Aquarius hates being told what to
What to
do.
do? Yes.
And I think that's because of the opposition of Leo. Leo
Well,
isn't particularly fond of being told what to do either.
yeah. And you take that childlike enthusiasm that is brought in through the stars of Leo
Mhm.
and then have the, I don't want to be told who to be and what to do from Aquarius. And boy, oh boy, those
Yeah.
Leo, or I mean, those fifth house people could really just like, do the ultimate, yeah, follow the middle finger, so to speak, and
Yeah,
understand it,
exactly.
right?
And the horse you rode in on.
And the horse you rode in on, right?
Right. But we also want to enjoy the process of getting in touch with your sovereignty, you
Yes.
know, getting that balanced, secure place. I am sovereign now. And you'll need to take that sovereignty into Pisces, right? In when everything sort of becomes one, this is how you don't lose yourself, by hanging on to that leonine sovereign self image.
Well, it's the proud lion leader, right? He or she is still seen, but I'm going to be seen. It's that proud lion, right? You've got the playful child and the immature or less um, experienced replication of it, and then it gets more to the mature. It's more that proud lion stance,
That
like,
can just sit there
yep,
being the lion.
and
Yeah,
sovereign, hey.
right, exactly. Yeah.
So that I had the vision of that again, that king queen like presence. And so the stone we picked was,
Emerald.
yeah, it just had this like gem like feel, this, I don't know, there was a power in it. And this
Yeah.
stone enhances wisdom. And I made a note, think proud lion versus the wild child,
Mhm.
strong balancer for emotions and brings joy. So you can have fun and play with it, but you
Yes.
don't want to do it in such a way that it's the wild child, right? To
Mhm.
the point where you're off the cliff. So you can be wild, but let's keep the toes on the edge a little bit here so
But
we
you
don't
can be
go flying.
steady. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep. So, sixth house. This is where
Sixth.
it's taking place for me.
Aha. Then Julie is going to have some decisions to make. When it's sixth house people, if this new moon is happening there for you, it is time to make some decisions. You're going to have to get organized and do what you need to do to walk in the world, right?
Yes.
What do I need to do to be able to walk in the world? What direction am I going to walk in?
Mm-hmm.
What
And
do I
how
need
am I
to
going to
take
do it?
with? Exactly. Um, what am I doing is going to be the big question here. You might get a t-shirt, have it printed on there. What am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be answering that question every day.
Well, and there's a sense of, if we've come through Capricorn and we've done all the foundational work, now we're getting really innovative and revolutionary through the stars of Aquarius. The sixth house people want to organize it and make it a routine for everybody, right? You know, I'm also a Virgo ascending, so that plays into it as well. We want to we want to put some color coding. We want to make sure it all stands up in line and everybody has all the things they need. And we know we're doing this at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever it happens to be, to get the greater group into some sort of organized fashion so that the innovation can be realized, right? It can't just be
Yeah.
all scattershot out there. It has to have some sort of process.
And, the sixth house people, you might also start to feel called to a greater purpose too.
Mhm.
You might have a sense of calling, a push toward a vocation.
Service
Yeah,
to the
exactly. It goes
community.
along with making decisions, but ooh, I've got a calling here. I've got a mission. I've got something I've got to undertake. And all right. Well, am I going to heed that calling? How am I going to heed that calling? What do I need to heed that calling? Right? That
In
that's
service to those others in the community, right?
yeah.
But it also feeds the one too. It feeds the self to have that ability to be in service to the community,
Mhm.
right? And then we chose,
We chose rose quartz. No, we didn't. I'm sorry. Not for this one. We chose tiger eye.
yes, the eye of the
Sixth house
tiger.
has tiger eye.
It enhances patience because if you're going to make those decisions, you're going to organize everything. You gotta have a little bit of patience. And of course, we also have Saturn in Aquarius right now too. That's helping us with that. Facilitates that decision-making process to put it in order, and then
Mhm.
also helps manifest future. And again, Aquarius is about the future. So future visionary, bringing it out to everybody. So if I'm the sixth house person, I've got this new moon opportunity, then I can use that tiger eye to get everything ready to get it out there.
Oh, that was beautiful. Damn.
Well, it's my
Mm,
house, so there you go.
nice. Choose
All right, now we're crossing into the house, the seventh house, which is all about.
seventh house. So here's where we could get like a little bit of an over under in terms of sensitivity with the people around you, right? So insensitivity and oversensitivity to the people in your sphere, and realizing how balanced or how imbalanced your relationships are. Who
Mhm.
are the people that you have an overreaction with? Who are the people that are insensitive to you or overly sensitive? And where can I bring better balance into my relationship? I think as a new moon, that's going to be the main question is, where do I need balance? Where can I bring more balance? Where do I need to get more balance?
Mhm.
This, of course, will happen by showing you the places where you're imbalanced. So that will be fun. Um,
And the community may tell you, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, a community will tell you. And there will probably, I mean, again, because there's a lot of Aquarius energy here, there'll probably be a lot of, why is this person acting like an insane person? That there will be a little bit of a detachment where you can go, that's interesting. I wonder why she's acting that way. I've never noticed that about her. Or also about yourself, like, hmm, I am having an overreaction here. Or or I wonder why I don't care about that. You know what I mean? That you will be able to observe better.
Well, and the seventh house person too, I think also has the potential to be the peacemaker in that community. So when there's, a whole bunch of crazy going on, that seventh house person might come in and say, hey guys, all right, let's retreat to our corners. Let's see if we can get
Yeah.
that balance back. Let's see both sides, the
Yeah.
peacemaker, the negotiator, right? And
That's that. Yeah. If you have Aquarius in your seventh house natally, then yeah, you do often take on that role.
yeah,
So,
exactly, exactly. And
so
also,
then
what
again,
actually was coming to me too is it's also that balance of the human with the technology, right? It's
mhm.
it's that idea that how do I, oh, we froze there for a second. How do I keep that balance between that futuristic Aquarian point of view, but don't let it overrun the human element of that community, right?
Mhm.
I think a seventh house person might have a good eye for that or a good sense of that.
Yeah.
So, and actually, I want to backtrack real quick before we get to the stone. Don had said something about the fifth house was celebrate the self, and I said celebrate me among the others,
Mhm.
the capital me, capital others. And Danny mentioned for the tiger's eye also keeps the evil eye away, and I said yes, good one.
Ah, yay.
Yes. So the stone for the seventh house would be
This is rose quartz.
yes.
Yes, this is when we need the love. We need to put on our Neptunian love goggles and just feel the love. It can help.
The Neptunian love goggles. That brought an image. Um, this
Hey.
has the potential energy to aid forgiveness,
Mhm.
restores mental balance after chaos or crisis, like I said, brings peacefulness and calm to relationships, especially when you're dealing with large groups of people, right? Or
Yeah.
animals or whatever. This is the one that's going to come in and just make it all nice.
Yeah. And I do think you will need that. Again, because if this is happening in your seventh house, if Aquarius is in your seventh house, there is a real risk of, like I said, and of throwing things off balance in that house. There's a lot of energy suddenly coming into
Yeah.
that Aquarius house. And if you're used to balancing with a certain amount of energy, then this might throw that off. So you'll want to try to keep yourself balanced. And that's why they said that there's likely to be sort of over under an oversensitivity or an insensitivity that you'll see where those imbalances are, because they'll get pointed out when things get knocked off balance, because I've got so much energy in that seventh house right now.
Right, right. Again, that rose quartz can help bring that balance in, right? And actually, you know what I should have mentioned earlier too? If you have a particular stone that you are working with, you actually have the stone, go put it out under the new moon at the time of the new moon to charge it
Yeah.
so that it brings in that new moon energy as you are bringing in the energy of the stone in and of itself. So
Mhm.
just a thought.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's funny because the eighth house, the first word you have here is insight.
Insight.
We
Yep.
just got some insight into that. So,
Ding. Yep. Yep. Feeling the deep transition moment. This, I think, eighth house, if this is happening in your eighth house, you are really going to get that sense of, ooh, we are in a deeply transformative moment here. And you can feel that shift. You can feel that new cycle starting, that old cycle ending.
for humanity,
Yes, yes, for everybody. And there'll be a microcosm of that for you, but I think that you will feel it, even if you don't know what you're feeling. They're like, ooh, I really have a feeling that something big is happening here. So I would encourage my eighth house people to really detach and tune in as best you can. And eighth house people are going to want to feel with everything they can feel, right? With your heart, with your head, with as many of your senses as you can bring to bear, just to get, because we're going to be counting on you. We're going to be counting on y'all to be the oracles of this moment, to give us the insight that you get. We need you.
and lean into that community that you're working with too. Look for that seventh house person to help you find that balance, for example. Because I think this is why we're seeing more and more people talking about these deeper journeys like childhood traumas, and that's going to come up with the stones here, or the excavation of all the shadow stuff that the human experience is talking about now. And Aquarius allows for us to do that through cyberspace too, right?
Mhm,
We're going to talk to each other through these different cyber communities about how we can heal that, see it and heal it, right?
mhm.
So the stone we chose on this one was a new one to me.
Argonite stars.
Yep. Argonite stars. Very interesting stone. I'd never heard of it, but
I'm sorry I tuned out there for a minute, but I was just like, Aragonite stars. I just had this crazy vision of stars up there. And sorry.
I'm telling you, Mercury and Pisces. So this heals wounds from childhood traumas, provides access to past life experiences and the exploration of higher planes. And I think that's important to excavate all the stuff. You
That's
got to connect to everything, right?
Mhm.
So, and Don put in psychic house cleaning, integrate, absorbs psychological undercurrents. Honesty helps. Well, that goes back to the Aquarian being the authentic you. You
Mhm.
have to be authentic in this.
Oh, the eighth house especially.
Yeah.
You have to be authentic. You have to be completely authentic, or you will go insane. I
Hmm.
mean, I honestly, I think that for eighth house people, it's just so important to keep it real, whatever real is for you. Whatever you're getting, the insights you're getting, own it.
Yeah.
Don't Do not try to obfuscate it. Do not try to change it. Don't try to lie to yourself or manipulate yourself or deny yourself.
Yeah. Because if you don't face it, it's going to face you anyway.
If you see dead people, you see dead people, right? If your crystals literally speak to you, then they speak to you. And you don't necessarily have to share that with the greater community, but you do have to own it for yourself.
Right.
Otherwise, yes, you will go insane. There will be a pretty big disconnect between, your psyche will have a hard time. And we
Yeah.
don't want your psyche to have a hard time. We
No.
want your psyche to have fun.
Because you may be the one hanging out in the stars of Pisces and we may never get you back.
Yeah, exactly. And the more things that you allow yourself to experience in that eighth house, the more you'll be available for somebody else later on,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Exactly.
It's one of those weird things that, if you experience something one day and it seems like weird, oh, I could never tell anybody this. Eventually, somebody else is going to come along that's like, I'm really afraid to say this, and they just describe the thing that you were afraid to share.
Well, and that goes with Aquarius, right? This is
Mhm.
for the greater
Yeah.
humanity. You are called to do this, and you are
Yeah.
not alone in doing this. Aquarius, the community.
Mhm.
So, all right, ninth house, because we're getting close to about an hour here, so we want to keep it
Okay.
around hour, just over an hour, so we don't.
Okay. Sorry, I'm
No, no,
yakking.
no, no. This is good. This is good. But about an hour, just over an hour is about the extent of people's attention spans.
Right.
Ninth house.
Well, ninth house, the word of this one is wisdom, finding the greater meaning and vision, right? Finding the greater meaning and vision in what's going on right now and expanding that vision. Ninth house is associated with Sagittarius and Jupiter.
Yes.
So it is all about seeing the bigger picture, thinking the bigger thoughts, um, finding that vision of, the imagine.
I just had an interesting thought. If you had the third house, sixth house, and ninth house person together, the third house person gets all the data, gets the information, gets ready to communicate it. The sixth house kind of takes it and organizes it and gets it in a pretty picture. And then the ninth house person expands into the wisdom of what will be of use to that greater community, to the humanity,
Mhm,
right? And so,
mhm.
boy, oh boy, if you compare a third, sixth, and a ninth house person in this, that's
Y-
magic.
Yeah.
That's magic. So,
So
and the stone would be
turquoise.
turquoise. I like that.
Mhm.
And Don says, finding a sense of wonder. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
because that's the person who's the adventurer too, wants to
Yep.
expand their horizons, right?
Yes.
And so the turquoise will support that wisdom and also enhance spiritual understanding and universal concepts, right? Because you
Yes.
have to have that ability to take that universal wisdom to the group.
Mhm.
That's got to help
Turquoise is
everybody.
associated with the fifth chakra too. The
Mm,
stone is turquoise. So
yep,
the scent organs that,
yep, yep.
understand and communicate.
10th
So, yeah.
house. Boy, that's the builder.
Yep. Goal attainment. Structure test for integrity in the collective and finding a new way to achieve goals. So we set goals. Last new moon was in Capricorn, right? And we set goals. Now we want to look at new and different ways to achieve those goals.
Right,
So
right.
we're going to be pretty focused on, all right, chunk, 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 let's go, let's go, let's do this.
Well, and we created that plan, that foundation in Capricorn, and now we may have to be innovative or visionary on how we execute it for the greater good of everybody, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And true to the greater plan. So the stone for this one is
Bumblebee
bump.
Jasper. I just had a vision of the bumblebees in the hive. You know, they're making the honey. The hive is the stars of Aquarius, right? And the making of the honey is the Capricornian energy of making something, right? The foundation, but it's for the whole hive. And it facilitates finding new opportunities, enhances clear decision making, improves concentration and transformative options.
Mhm.
So you can focus on, you know, a certain aspect of it, but it also allows for you to be that innovative visionary one in the process and see where it may have to flex a bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I love the Bumblebee Jasper.
Yeah.
Um,
It's that, and that all, think about how like the second house, the sixth house, and the 10th house relate to one another, that trine.
mm-hmm.
How, okay, we're collecting the raw materials, and Virgo, we're sort of organizing and collating the raw materials, and in Capricorn, we're building.
Yep, yep. Yeah. I like how these different relational pieces are coming together. So,
Yeah.
the 11th house.
Okay. Expand the definition of community, right? And aligning with those who share your truth.
So the
So,
Yeah, the 11th house and Aquarius go together.
yeah, the 11th house and Aquarius go together. So really it is going to be, I think, all about that apotheosis of community, right? That coming together. All right, I'm sending out my authentic signal, and I am finding the people who are drawn to that.
Mhm.
And we're gonna really make the world a better place. So expanding the definition of community. And again, that community doesn't have to be human being people.
Right.
Your community could be um trees, it can be animals, it can be
Star
being
beings.
without bodies.
Yep.
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 Uh,
Those who have transitioned. It could be
yes.
anything like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it could get weird, but it could be super awesome. So yeah.
And the stone,
Celestite.
yes, the stone of truth and authenticity promotes clear speech, aids adjustment to change. Because again, Aquarius, you have to be innovative, you have to be flexible, you have to be visionary, but you also have to have the ability to move with it. You know, you can't be
Yes.
rooted in stubbornness of, say, you know, the Taurian energy or even the Capricornian energy that can be somewhat rigid at times.
Well, yeah, and think about, if you've got an authentic message, and you're in your authentic self, and you know what your authentic message is, and you want it to reach the right people, you have to be using the right medium.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm proclaiming my authentic message to the bare walls of my house, probably ain't nobody going to hear it unless they come into my house.
Right.
So there's a chance to say, all right, look, is my communicate, am I reaching the right community? Um, am I wanting to connect with nature? Am I giving the community a chance to find me? If I want to connect with beings without bodies, then hey, yeah, I can be wherever. If I want to connect with human beings, I need to find a different medium. If I want to, do you see what I mean?
Well, and Don says the medium
Blah.
is the message, and that makes sense, right? You know, that you could put those feelers out there, but in and of itself, that is the authenticity, you know, and that the fact that you're doing it, you're going to connect to what is authentic because you've already put that out there.
Indeed, but you
Yeah,
also have to be willing to adjust your approach.
absolutely. Right.
I
Right. And
shouldn't
that
have
was
said
the
but. I should
intention.
say, and you have to be willing to adjust your approach.
Right. Adjustment to change, adjustment to being
Yeah.
revolutionary, innovative. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So the stone to help us with that,
Was the cell.
Celest, yeah, we're still Celestite. Did I just backtrack on the 11th house? I did.
We did.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Just in case you missed it the first time.
Oh,
Melody just popped in. 10th house is hers. Love it. Totally ready to rock and roll in new and improved ways. Jasper. I regularly go to a mountain where jasper lies around on the ground. I have a nice polished piece in my hand right now. Thank you for sharing, dear friend. I love it. I love it. 12th house, last but not least, is the house of.
um, what I got was the culmination of deep healing, a time of marked transformation for you. If this is happening in your 12th house, you've completed a big healing cycle, I think.
Mhm.
Yes, it feels like something pretty major has come full circle for you.
It,
You know, and there's going to be an opportunity for a real release, a real deep healing. I know I've just said that 3 times, but
for purpose. Well, it's a connection to your spiritual community, right? This is where you're connecting to
mhm,
the community of the all that is, right? The however you look at that. Well, Don says letting go and a sense of the eternal. Exactly. You're connecting to however you define that all that's beyond us, the divine, the supreme being, the great creator, whatever it is, the super consciousness, all of that, that is the connection to that community. This may be a new moon opportunity for you to do that as a result of that deep healing,
yeah.
right? Or healing the relationship with that community. Maybe you've severed yourself from that because you haven't felt a connection to the divine or to spirit, God, source, however you look at that.
I
And
mean,
you,
that could be the deep healing for some people could be simply developing a connection
yes,
that hasn't been there before. Like, I suddenly feel connected to all that is in a way that makes this human, the wound might be just the general human wound
yes.
of like, you know, being stuffed into the meat sack and I've lost my connection. And oh, here it is again. I can Julie loves the meat sack. Okay.
Oh my God. And the
Laugh
stone
every
shall
time.
be.
What's our stone? Rainbow sheen obsidian. I love this stone.
It just has a lovely feel to it. And what's really nice about the energy of this stone is it does pull out those old energy patterns that we no longer need, right? Again, we've innovated through the stars of Aquarius, and now we're moving into the connection of the all that is. So we leave behind what we don't need. Like Don says, letting go and getting to that sense of eternity.
Yeah.
And it also teaches us how to be, bring light into darkness and preventing emotional draining from others. Because remember, Pisces is also the stars of compassion, empathy. The highly sensitive people tend to have heavy Pisces, right? You're bringing in everybody else's shit. And this is a way to use that stone so that it isn't a vampiric energy of yours, taking yours away. Because you can be in that community, but others may latch onto you and suck it all out of you. So you take that rainbow sheen obsidian and you have that with you as a protective mechanism.
Yes.
So, well, my dear friend, shall you take the share off and then maybe pull us a beautiful card to end this?
You got it. I just did. Okay.
Beautiful.
So the card, and I am using the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light Oracle deck.
I love it.
That's the one that wanted to be used tonight. So, and the card is Pleiades.
Oh, how nice.
It, Pleiades, and it says double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity.
Well, how perfect is that?
Right?
So we started with
Pleiades.
when I lean in the faith of the universe, peace becomes real, and we ended with,
Yep. Channeling and uplifting humanity.
yep, yep. I think that's a beautiful way to
That
wrap
very
up.
Aquarius into Pisces. It really is very Aquarius into Pisces.
It is.
Wow. Yeah. Cool.
Well, our dear star friends, thank you so much for holding space with us. And for those of you catching us on the replay, it'll post itself here in the Radical Astrology group. We'll also have links to various social platforms, our Facebooks and our YouTubes and blah, 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 blah. And then we'll have a pre-record, likely in a couple of weeks, about the full moon. So we're trying to do the new moon as a live, the full moon as a pre-record, and we'll see what happens. And then also, again, as a reminder, on March 29th, I'll get some posts out. We're going to have a roundtable discussion on the eclipse with a total of 7 of us, I believe, are going to come to a roundtable. That'll be a live discussion with the 7 of us in the studio, so to speak, and the rest of you can again bring in questions, whatever have you. So stay tuned. We'll get some more details out on that. So, all right, my friends, I bid you all adieu, and may the new moon be kind to all of you, and you find that community that really resonates with your soul.